As part of our Transforming Engagement, Aligning Corporate Culture with Human Value series that REBA is running with Mercer Marsh Benefits, I'm delighted to be chatting today with Juliet Edmonds, Director of Reward Europe for telecoms company Orange. So to start off, Juliet, can you please tell me how Orange is linking diversity, equality and inclusion targets to HR practices and policies?
So Orange is operating in 26 countries and we have employees of more than 140 different nationalities. So our diversity in talent, skills and profile is a huge wealth of opportunity for the group. And we've got a long-standing commitment to diversity, equality and inclusion. We have had diversity agreements with social partners since 2004, and our diversity function was established back in 2008. And we put in place a formal HR policy on diversity and inclusion from 2009. And today our diversity and inclusion team is part of our CSR function at Orange and is responsible for setting out Orange's strategy, guidelines and policy on DEI topics. And DEI in turn is governed by the Group Strategic Committee for Gender Equality, which is composed of members of the Orange Executive Committee and other management representatives at Orange.
So moving on from that high-level strategic view that you've just run through, how on a practical level does Orange take that commitment and turn it into action across the business?
So back in 2019, Orange signed a worldwide agreement on gender equality in the workplace with our social partners. And this agreement applies across the whole of the Orange Group, and it covers three main themes: equality in the workplace, work-life balance, and combating discrimination and violence. And this agreement provides a common framework of actions which can be adopted by Orange companies in the local context. And it also includes a number of key indicators for reporting and monitoring purposes. In order to facilitate the implementation of the related DEI action plans, a network of diversity representatives has been appointed across the group, which is coordinated by our group diversity and inclusion team. And as well as that, we've established diversity committees at a local level, so they can manage the implementation of the plans. And although this whole agreement and initiative is HR-led, it's a very inclusive approach and it involves all our stakeholders, so social partners, experts, managers, as well as employees. Aligned with these priorities as well in relation to the DEI, Orange subsidiaries participate to a periodic diagnosis audit, which is the Gender Equality European and International Standard. And the outcomes of this diagnosis are then used to further inform and develop local DEI action plans.
So Julie, it's interesting. You've got clearly lots of stakeholders and different parts of the business involved, but we know that unless line managers and employees engage, culture is just not going to shift. So what is Orange doing to engage line managers and employees in a corporate culture that's got to focus on diversity, equality and inclusion targets?
So in support of the worldwide agreement, we did launch a comprehensive communication campaign, both internally and externally, which included news articles and interviews with the business sponsors in order to promote awareness of the DEI topics. But on an ongoing basis, we've also developed interactive e-learning resources, including a solution called Diversity Together, which is for managers and employees, and that's available on our Orange Learning platform. And also employees can go further into the topics through a video-based training covering the worldwide agreement priorities, and they can gain an international gender equality visa certificate as part of that training. On top of the communication campaign, we've also established social communities, both at a group and a local level, which are dedicated to DEI, and we produce a periodic newsletter on gender equality and diversity, which goes out to all employees. At local subsidiary level, there's also many initiatives underway. There's probably too many to mention here in detail, but they do include events, for example, for International Women's Day, and we've got local ambassador programs that encourage women to pursue managerial positions or positions in technical domains as well.
And Juliet, now for the question that so many reward and benefit directors are grappling with. And So in what ways is Orange adapting its reward practices to drive a corporate culture that focuses on diversity, equity, and inclusion targets?
In relation to our reward practices, Orange is a common statistical framework and tool which is used to measure pay gaps in a consistent way across all our subsidiaries. In fact, this framework has been in place for quite a few years, but recently the tool has been developed to make it a bit more user-friendly. And it now includes a heat map, which can highlight potential risk groups to provide a drill down capability for the practitioners to analyse a bit further into the detail. And then aligned with the worldwide agreement commitments, we use this method annually to analyse pay gaps between men and women in comparable positions. And the Orange subsidiaries can then use that information to inform local reward actions and policies. Orange is also committed on a global level to include specific measures in our annual compensation and benefit policies dedicated to ensure pay equality. So, for example, in some countries, a dedicated annual budget is set aside for gender pay adjustments. On top of that, our group long-term incentive plan, as well as our short-term bonus arrangements for senior management, both include indicators and KPIs aligned with our gender diversity objectives, with the aim to increase the proportion of women in managerial networks.
Thank you so much, Juliet, for sharing the work that you and the team at Orange are doing to drive a culture that is so focused on DEI at the moment. I think your experiences will be very useful to others looking to do the same.